Mental! Mental, man, it's mental. So 1 terabyte in one card. So another one of the reasons that XQD is so good. G'day Shakers and Groovers. Today, oh, I don't think I put the handbrake on. That's not very good. Whoops. Today I'm supplying books, calendars, journals to grade 1. They do a fundraiser every year, an art fair. So that's what we're doing. But also today we want to talk about XQD. G'day everybody, how are ya? The delivery to the school went well. The art show is on next week. Hopefully they sell some of my books and raise some money for the school. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think it would. Now, today, as the title of this film states, I want to talk about XQD and what is the next step? What is the future? What's happened with XQD? It was a year ago, almost to the day, that I made my last XQD film. In that film I said, well, you know, I like it as a format, it looks tougher, it's got a good overhead, it can go much larger. There's a lot of things to like about XQD. But I said, sadly, my XQD card had a failure. And that's what I thought had happened. So back in 2012, I bought a Nikon D4. They shipped the Nikon D4 because it had a CF slot and an XQD slot. They shipped it with an XQD card to get me in the mood. First time they'd ever done that. So this is now 7 years ago. And it was a 16 gigabyte card. I popped it in, I shot away and all was going well. And then one day I popped it in the card reader to download the pics and it wouldn't work. And I thought to myself, oh well, XQD, don't know anything about it. First time I've used it, doesn't seem to be working. That's pretty sad. But then 2017 came along, well, Nikon stuck XQD in the Nikon D850 and we had to use it if we wanted dual card slots. So I got myself 2 128 gigabyte XQD cards. And then one day I thought, oh, I know, it'd be good to have a spare card just in case. So I pulled out the old 16 gigabyte that I hadn't used for 6 years, 5 or 6 years, and went, I wonder if, you know, let's have a look. Plugged it into the camera, formatted it, it shot onto it. The upshot of this story was, it was never the card that had failed, it was the XQD card reader. And because I only ever had one XQD card reader and they were expensive, I didn't replace it. And I never realised it wasn't the card, it was the reader. So I've been using XQD in my D850s now for over 18 months. And of course now the Z7 is also XQD. And Nikon very kindly shipped that camera with a 64 gig. Yeah, so the cards are all the same speed, the 64s and the 128s. The 16 gigabyte from 2012 is slower, obviously it's older. All cards work, I have 4. I've been using them all now, and for the last 18 months using them in the D850. I pretty much use those exclusively, and the SDs just sit in there as overflow or backup or whatever, and it's the XQDs that come in and out for when I'm actually doing something like downloading pictures, because of course what's great about the XQD, they're so much faster when you're downloading, probably 2 or 3 times faster. So another one of the reasons that, and sorry about the wind, that XQD is so good is it's robust. I would say it's significantly more robust than SD ever could be. SD is obviously very thin. XQD is much wider. The way the pin pins work is much better. The pin system is actually internal, unlike SD, they're external. And obviously, XQD has a lot more future headroom for space. We're already talking about 1 terabyte transfer speeds of over 1 gigabyte up to 2 gigabytes next generation. So it's a great format, very, very future-proofed format, and I'm very glad Nikon have taken the XQD format. So, continuing our talk about XQD, CF Express, why is it so good? What's so exciting about it? And why should we be, just not thinking about the fact that, SD exists? Sure, SD's everywhere. Great! Love the fact that SD's everywhere. But once you've bought a couple of readers, and once you've got more than enough cards floating around in your ecosystem, and if you've got 1 camera, that's 2 or 3. If you've got 2 cameras, it's probably 3 or 4. XQD and its form factor is the future, with CF Express being the next version of that. Gosh, I'm excited about CF Express. So we already know they're going to move at 500 gigabytes to, sorry, not 500, 500 megabytes to 1 gigabyte per second write times. We already know that they're going to double that and get that up to 2 gigabyte per second write times in the next version. We know that they can come in 1 terabyte in something this big. We know they can come in 2 terabytes. So what is there not to love about XQD/CF Express? It's the future. I've had no problems with any of my cards. Let's just reiterate this stuff. I've had no problems with any of my cards. They've all been great. So far, so good. Running it in the Z7, the D850, the D4. All good. It's a form factor designed for future speeds, and it's designed for future storage. This is going to keep us out of trouble for the 60 megapixel cameras or even 100 megapixel cameras. You never know, like Hasselblad and those sort of guys might start using these things, because they do have 100 megapixel sensors. Plus 8K. Now, of course, 8K is bubbling on the horizon, isn't it? It's bubbling. It's bubbling, and it's coming. And 8K is going to require 4 times the speed. And then if you want to do less compressed, higher bit rate, etc., you're going to need that. SD's not going to handle that into the future. It's just not. Well, you start investing in this XQD/CF Express platform format. Nikon have been thinking about it since the D4, since 2012. They've been very future focused, unbeknownst. And then you have other players who are going, yeah, SD, man, that's the future. It's not. It isn't. It's clearly not the future. It's convenient. Convenient is great. Love convenient. But it doesn't make it future focused. So if you actually want to invest in something that's going to last longer, CF Express/XQD. Anyway, enough of a rant about that from me. I think it's a great format. Nikon are talking about putting it in. We will get a firmware upgrade which will allow this new CF Express with its 1 gigabyte write speeds and its 1 terabyte card speeds and beyond. That firmware update will come for the D850, the D500, the D5 and the Zs. They'll all be able to use these new cards that aren't going to be called XQD. It's the same size as XQD, but they're going to be called CF Express. So let me know what you think about XQD/CF Express. If you're a Z owner, and I know there's quite a lot of us out there now, you're probably as excited as I am by the potential. You may never need one because you're just happy to shoot with the speeds that you have today, and that's fantastic. And you know that this slot, like SD, which has been around a long time, this slot is going to last another couple of decades, and these cards you bought today will work if they're still working, but you never know, they might be. Yeah, what do you think about it? Do you care? I know it's more expensive now, I know it's a bit more frustrating now, I know that we've all been using SD forever, but can I tell you, in my D3s and in my D3S and in my D700 maybe, I don't know, I can't quite remember, I was running CF cards, dual CF cards. For years I've been running CF. Anyway, tell me what you think. XQD, CF Express, what the future holds. As a brief aside, as we talk about CF Express and XQD, Nikon have formally announced that the IAF is coming to the Z cameras. That's very exciting. Let's hope it's at least 75% as good as the Sony stuff. Been lovely to see you. Please like, please share, please subscribe if you haven't. Bye for now.
And come on, I dare you, check out one of my 2 films above. And we can spend some more time together. That'd be good.